Now today's video will come as no surprise to anyone. The Audi TT RS is very broken in game. But just how broken can it be, and just how important is it to find the right tune for your car? Welcome back to today's video, guys. It's all going to be about the Audi TT RS and some of these off-road races that have came to us over in Ibiza. Now, leading into Season 2, this was something I was largely crying for. I wanted to see rotation of races, and it's largely what we have been given. Yes, it could be a bit better, we could see more exposure for the Grand Tour category, but today we have got the daily driver and an off-road race for the daily driver. We're heading over to Natural Rhythm, 96% gravel, 550 to 650 RP in the Audi TT RS. Now previously we covered this and we used the Mini Cooper, John Cooper Works I believe it was, and we had tons of fun with that one on this off-road race. And I actually think this might be one of the best off-road races over in Ibiza. So we're going to try out the Audi TT RS to kick things off today. Not built a specific tune for this one as it is. I still have my on-road or my road traction heavy grip, all focused around as much traction as possible with the Audi TT RS. The only changes I've made for this one is fitting off-road tyres and the all-road suspension, or maybe all-road, yeah, it was off-road tyres and all-road suspension. Everything else has been left as it was, so it's an on-road grip tune for the TT RS. And things start to get very interesting very quickly with the TT. We can see just how stiff, how bumpy and how lively this thing is on this off-road track. The Natural Rhythm is a phenomenal race, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have already, spent some time on this one. For me, one of the best off-road races over on the Ibiza map. Now we can already see with the TTRS, it's very stiff, it's very bouncy, it's very lively on this off-road circuit. So we know that we could improve this with a tune specific for this one to absorb bumps, all of the undulations, the very quick turns that this one's going to have on an off-road circuit. So we'll get through the first race for today with the on-road tune. We'll then head on over, build the tune, race this one off-road and see what kind of improvement we can have with this. We're already about 34% through with the race. We've not really covered the race itself all too much, so let's talk about that one. We can see that the TTRS, with it having Quattro drivetrain, phenomenal Quattro drivetrain, all derived of course from the Audi Quattro and its capabilities on the rally stages. This carrying over to the TTRS is actually proving to be a fantastic off-road vehicle. Round the big sweeping right-handers, throwing it into a left-hander. This one isn't losing any form of traction, gets the power down fantastically well, coping with tapping the walls. But when we're in an off-road race, I kind of give a little bit of an excuse here that it's okay to kind of rub some of the walls. On an on-road race I don't like rubbing walls, but on these off-road races specifically I don't mind rubbing the walls. It's part of rallying after all. Onto the new road surface we've got here, we call this mud. Yeah, we just missed that little curb there. Again, we can see how the power slides for the TTRS are fantastic. The power distribution that this car has, the power to weight ratio, and of course where we've got the drivetrain positioned at 65% front to rear, this thing gets the power down fantastically well on a very difficult road surface. Just managing to get around the bollard there for the left-hander, or the big moon-shaped bollard, whatever you want to call it there. But through the big floating right-handers, swing it round to into left-hander, we can just let the back end of the TTRS flow around with us and get the power straight back down. A big power slide there it was indeed, into the right-hander here, managing to cope with all of the bumps on the road surface, in through their next checkpoint. 47.8 second lead on the rest of the AI. We never have much of a challenge with the AI on these races, especially not the daily driver, especially not when we're using the TTRS. But what's going to become quite evident shortly is what kind of time we can put up against everyone else that is playing this in the EU servers on Steam. It's going to be quite interesting. I obviously know already what happened, very surprised with it. With an on-road tune, how well can we improve the TTRS? We've got about 12% left of this one, some very interesting corners coming up here. Right-hander, we want to get the power down nice and early, get the back end of this thing flowing around with us as we come up in towards a very tricky section, one that I'm still yet to get happy with. I'm not getting a good turn around that left corner right there, cannot get that one nailed down. Taking out a wall, losing some time here. It might punish us as we do cross the line. There are parts of this race I can tidy up a lot. This part here specifically, we can straight line most of that one and gain a lot of time as we do cross the line with a 3 minute 51.8 3-4. And as we can see, we actually finished in second place without even building a tune for this one. A few seconds, 6 seconds behind Alex FR. Always at the top of the off-road leaderboards. It's always good for myself to come back here and challenge myself and see how close I can get with Alex FR. And dare I say, try to pass Alex FR's time. Now with the map rotation, the time I'm playing this, I've not got long to get a second lap or even a third lap into this one. I've got about 10 minutes until the servers reset and the race rotation changes. So we're going to get straight back in. I have built the tune. I'll show the tune after this race. But I have built an off-road tune for the TT RS, a bit softer, a bit more forgiving for the off-road surfaces. So once again, we'll launch it off the line straight up into second, third and into fourth gear as we come through the early parts of this one. Try to be as brave as we can. Missing the trees, hopefully, not losing too much time, trying to miss out some of the fences. You can actually have a little shortcut there through the right hand side of the trees, taking out the fences. I didn't do it this time out, but there is a little shortcut there. Small on-road section here through the double left-handers, tried to brake in time using the wall on the outside to slow us down, round the right-hander, get the power down. Now with the softer suspension, how's it going to manage through these bumps? Manages it slightly better, I would say. A big power slide, tapping the wall, a little bit of handbrake there to get the power back down round the left-hander. You can see at the time of recording this one, guys, I was pushing as hard as I could because I knew I didn't have long to get this second race and maybe even try to get a third race into here. Little spoiler, I didn't have time for a third race. So it's this effort, is the only effort we're going to have to try and improve on that 3 minute 51 with an off-road tune rather than the on-road tune that we have got here. Through this little section we can see how much more forgiving the TT RS is, with bigger suspension, with softer suspension, with a more comfortable rebound on the suspension. We're going to talk about that shortly when we get into the tune. Getting the power down through this little straight section here, little kink to the right, we want to cut left as quickly as we can, staying away from that right hand wall and get the power down once again. We want to cut across the track here, we can have a little bit of a shortcut, the game doesn't like it, we can see we just get up on two wheels, we only managed to keep this thing on the ground. A little bit unsettled as we do land back in the ground, tapping on those walls, a little bit of a bumper car there, in through this big sweeping right hander again, perhaps the back end sliding out and there's just a little bit too much and we do lose a little bit of our momentum. We are losing time, critical time, as we are making some mistakes on this one, rushing a little bit too much. Might have to go back into this on the next rotation and set a better time. We'll talk about that very shortly. But through these little sections here, again tapping on the wall, that one they're actually benefiting us, kicking the back end of the TT around to around the right hander as we do tap that outside wall. Through this little right hander again, getting very close to that little curb on the right hand side. Caught out with that one a few times as I have done this races. We don't want to cut that last right hander all too much. Getting the power down as fast as we can through this double right hander right here, letting the back end slide on us. We can steal a bit of the road to the left hand side. There's nothing going to cause us too many issues, but we do get a bit leery coming in through that section. We can tidy that one up. We can probably make back another few seconds in through this right hander here. Can we get a big power slide going on? You bet your bottom dollar we can. In through the left hander again, getting the power down, another big power slide here. Maybe not being as aggressive as we could be. The car getting quite unsettled through that one. It doesn't like the heavy load coming through the big right hander here. Again, we could be a bit faster through that one, taking out a bit closer to the right hand of the checkpoint. Coming back uphill, big power slide, right hander into left hander. Fully committing to this one, guys. I'm trying to be as fast as I can. Making a few mistakes, losing a couple of split seconds here and there. They're all going to add up probably by the end of this race. We've got about, again, 18-17% left of this one as we come up into the trickier section. Again, losing a bit of time, hitting the outside wall. We do have a 53-second lead over the rest of the AI, but we're making mistakes here. We're losing valuable time as we push up into the right-hand hairpin. Big power slide there, get back on that power nice and early, cutting that right-hander just a little bit and this right-hander up into my least favourite part of this track, left-hander, making a slightly better effort of it this time through that left-hand hairpin, get the power back down through the right-hander, and we will push forward now towards the finish line of this off-road sprint. Are we a little bit tighter this time out? Slightly tighter, but we can straight line that one just a little bit more, and we do cross the line. What kind of time do we set? Where do we land on the leaderboard? It is very close. We do a 3 minute 45.6. Alex FR's 3 minute 45.38. Still sitting there. Pretty. 0.22 of a second. 0.2 of a second off Alex FR's time. We're so unbelievably close to that one. I wish I had more time. I came to this one a little bit earlier. As we can see, the rotation has now just changed for a cross-country race. I wish I came to this one a little bit earlier for the recording and cleaned up that last race so we could tackle Alex FR's time and hopefully, potentially, most likely take first place on the leaderboard. Keep your eyes out on that leaderboard, guys. I am going to spend time, I am going to revisit that one, and I am going to take first place for the daily driver on the natural rhythm race. But as I mentioned earlier, we have built, or I've built a specific tune for the TTRS for off-road. I'm going to share it with you guys. You can go and have a, you know, replicate the tune, have a little shot of it, see what you guys think, and see what improvements you guys can make and bring it back to me. Let's take a look at that tune now. So the gearbox, like I mentioned, I made no changes to this from the on-road build. Try to get this one as fast as I can. It's more acceleration based, we can see. Downforce, -1 downforce on the front, 0.5% down on the rear. Again, trying to keep it planted. Could maybe lift that one up. Rear suspension, made that as big as we could at 17 on the positive side. Stiffness, you know, making the springs quite soft. They're 84, 85% respectively. Compression at 88 and 90%, with the rebound at 100 and 107. Again, we could lower that one down, but I found a nice balance with the suspension, compression and rebound at those levels. Take it over to handling. No changes here except for the power distribution, like I mentioned in the video. Dropping that down to 65, getting a good balance from the front and the rear. Differentials, 15, 10, 25. I think they are stock. They might be slightly changed. Anti-roll bar, like we already know. Want to make that one as soft as we possibly can at 4 and 2 respectively for the front and rear. Cambers, again, I keep that to the on-road tune, -2 on the front and the rear. Get those wheels pointed in a little bit, help the car turn a little better, and of course the brake bias at 70 and 750. Very aggressive on the TTRS with its brakes. But that's the tune, guys. You can go and play about with that one. You can go and improve it. You can give me some feedback if you can make it better, or if that's the optimal tune for the TT RS off-road. So that was basically a video to highlight the importance that, you know, we will improve our time with a proper tune on a car. You guys let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Smash up that like button, subscribe, share, do whatever it is you want to do with this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it for today. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.